Hey, Donnie.
Good morning, pretty girl.
I'm fixing to take off.
Well, it'll be sun's up in just a minute.
Yeah, it is. Today is get the Halloween decorations down day because robotics was canceled and I'll have the energy to do that.
Yeah.
Plus, we have some really cold air coming in and I got to be up and down the attic steps, which is right behind Don's head, basically.
Yeah.
I've got to do that before it gets too cold. We'll be cool. We'll be extra heating the downstairs if I don't.
Right.
Well, there's Blue, ready for another morning adventure. Yesterday's shopping was pretty fun. I have to say, it was pretty fun. See if I can remember to both push the lock, the door handle, and pull. All at the same time. Good morning, Blue. It is 46 out there right now, but we are supposed to have a high near 70. One last warm day. It feels like it should be Friday already, if you're asking me. Yeah, for some reason, I'm a little anxious to get to the weekend this week, I guess. So Johnny's pretty fascinated. This is the second Jeep Gladiator we've seen this morning. The other one was black. So what about these taillights, Johnny?
So, see how they stick out to the side a little bit?
Yeah, they are like 2 inches out on both sides. They're not flush with the side.
That connects the sensors for the blind spot detection system.
Huh.
So,
Well, I also noticed the wheel well is out just a smidge farther even than the tail lights. Maybe that's why they have to be out a little bit, is to compensate for that. I don't know.
Nope, it's entirely for the blind spot sensor. I watched one of Doug Stamaro videos on the 2019 Jeep Wrangler, which has the same type of taillights, and that's the reason the designer explained why the taillights stick out a little bit.
Okay, well that's cool. Raleigh's looking pretty in the sunlight this morning. We're entering downtown at 7:14 a.m., so we're looking good on time. So my account in Pokemon Go now needs to visit 7 stops I haven't visited. You know, that is a little bit tough for me. But I'm sure if I drive around the city just a little bit, I can come up with 7 places. It's not since the beginning of Pokemon Go because they've reset it a couple of times. But I will have to work that just a bit to do that. So I know we all heard that the pickup truck reveal date has been announced for 11/21. That's a Thursday. I know that because 11/23 is a Saturday, and that's when my first Lego League team competes over in Smithfield. You know, that thing we've been working towards for months now, since the beginning of the school year. Don and I still are eligible from the referral program for an invite to a special event. I guess we got the last one for the Y. Was it for the Y? Yeah, but it was in the middle of the night, and like all of the people that they could handle, the capacity had been filled before we even knew that the invite had been sent. So I have Don checking his email several times a day, which is a lot more than he normally checks it. And but I'm not sure what we would do with that, even if we were to get the invite with enough time to act on it. I mean, I'd be happy to send Don again and either help somebody out there in the YouTube world get in that is looking for an invite, or someone from the area that wanted to, you know, had the time and bucks to go with Don that wanted to go. I don't know that he would go again since he was just out there. But anyway, we are waiting and watching, and I guess you never know exactly what you're going to do until you have, you know, a decision to make. But I would say for me, it's highly unlikely I can't get out there and get back and do the coach thing pretty much no matter what. So the timing of it for me takes me out of the loop. It's okay. I would love to go. Obviously, I would never turn down a Tesla event I had access to, but yeah, I'm just kind of focused on that robotics first Lego League thing. yeah, so we're not meeting today because of the open house at the school tonight, which kind of hurts. I need to go send a note to the team, make sure people don't not show up for their kids this afternoon. It should have been communicated, but just to make sure, and also to say that we're going to meet Sunday, and you know, a few other details about robotics. So I need to do that. Probably should do that before I start walking up and down the attic stairs. I'm back home now. I noticed this morning that the colors were really looking a lot nicer. They really seem to have popped some overnight. I am looking forward to the drive back to Raleigh this afternoon. I think it'll be really pretty when the sun is a little higher in the sky. I have lots of help as I pack up Halloween. I am grabbing a few boxes at a time, filling them up, taking them up, bringing down a few more empty boxes, trying not to get totally worn out and still get the job done. Hey, Midnight. Hey, buddy. Yep, lots of help. So Dawn just finished watching what are the best brake pads, cheap versus expensive, tested on the Engineering Explained YouTube channel. We've talked about watching this guy before. He now drives a red Performance Model 3.
Right.
You started to say that one of the tests they did was a corrosion test.
Right.
And possibly from an electric car perspective, that's the most important test when considering what brake pads to replace the originals with, should you ever have to replace them, because...
Right. Well, a lot of the parts store type ones, you go down to your local parts store, they're going to be painted. The brake pad, the backing plate is just going to be steel, and they're going to just put some paint on it. Well, that paint doesn't last that long, and then it starts corroding, and of course that could cause it to weld to your calipers, or in bad cases that could cause the rust could actually pop the friction material off of the backing plate. So corrosion, it's one thing if you replace your brake pads every 2 years, it's probably not going to be a big deal. But on a Tesla or an electric car, let me rephrase that, you may not replace your brake pads for 5, 7, 10 ever. So corrosion gets to be a really big deal. So based on watching this, you should stick with the Tesla brake pads, and or make sure that the backing plates are galvanized. It basically proved out that the OEM, the car manufacturer parts, they've all passed tests, and one of them is a corrosion test. And whereas the part store ones, you don't know what tests they've passed or not, unless it's a brand name. You know, if you go maybe to Napa or somebody like that. Anyway, it was a very interesting thing.
Yeah, maybe you should go watch the video.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're thinking about placing brake pads on an ICE vehicle or an electric vehicle, this is interesting stuff here.
Right.
Help you make a good decision.
The thing is, you can't really tell by just looking at disc brake pads if this is a good one or bad one. I mean, there's a little bit of maybe there's a couple things, like if the pad or the little noise shield wraps all the way around and versus is just glued on. You know, if it's there's certain things that you can key in on, and you might be able to scratch the paint off and see if it's zinc color below it or just gray steel. Yeah, this NRS company that let him use their testing equipment to test not only their pads but other vendor pads. Right. They
They don't paint the backside of theirs because they want people to see that they're galvanized. He said that in the video. Yeah, see, I'm paying attention even though I'm putting up Halloween stuff and it's guy stuff. I'm still paying attention.
Right.
I always have to hedge it with, but I'm not done yet. And that's true. My dishes are in the dishwasher ready when we go off peak to wash them so I can put them out, both in the cabinet and on the table. And I don't quite have all the Halloween stuff put away upstairs. Like, it's moved upstairs, but it's not actually in a box or a bag or on the shelf where it goes. So I'm guessing I have about another hour up there of stowing, packing, wrapping, protecting until next Thanksgiving, the Halloween stuff. But the Thanksgiving stuff is close. Yeah, Don helped me a little bit on the stairs. I've been up and down a lot. I am understandably out of breath. I'm on my way to get Johnny, running a few minutes behind. The color is a little prettier out here this afternoon and I'm enjoying it. I'm just listening to my Audible book. We did get an update from Tesla on Ruby, and I'll fill you guys in on that in a little bit. All week I've been noticing these maple trees on the right. They've mostly been red up at the top, but not so much on the bottom. Now I see a little bit more of the red coming down on the trees. They're very pretty. They lead right up into the belt line here. That's what that traffic is overhead there, and then to downtown Raleigh. Wow, we came out of Raleigh on Hammond Road and they are forcing us up onto the belt line. I have no clue why they are doing that. Car in front of me, you don't have a choice, so how about you go sooner than later? He's not giving us a choice. Johnny and I are headed into Walmart. He needs earbuds. Don needs some glasses. I'll probably pick up some cat food. You know, stuff. This S sure is pretty. Hey, bud.
Hey.
Oh. So I spent way too much time in Walmart looking at the coffee makers again, the Keurigs. Walmart has a K-Duo Essentials, which is a $30 or so cheaper version of the K-Duo being sold everywhere else. It's got a little less chrome on it, and the controls aren't as snazzy, and it doesn't do strong brew. There's a couple of subtle differences about it. Well, anyway, it's not $99 at this store. Now it's $79. And it's really not the one I want, but it's such a good price. Don and I were messaging back and forth, and we're still holding out for Black Friday was the final decision. So, I don't know. You know, I guess it depends on how long it's going to last and what's the potential that we're really going to love it. And, you know, I sort of have my eye on the $129 one, but at a Black Friday price, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, if I get an $80 one and it doesn't last very long, or we don't like it, there's less investment. It's such a hard decision. It's just a kitchen appliance. Can y'all feel the pain? So we heard back from Tesla.
Yep.
This afternoon. We got an update.
Right. Remember, we left you where the point that they were going to look at the decided that it's going to need a few parts, and they wanted to inspect it a little bit more. So they've completed that, and they've sent us the complete detailed invoice of the parts needed, along with the labor cost and all that. The difference, obviously, it goes up. The difference between this estimate that was not on the original estimate was they're going to have to replace the air conditioner condenser coil and the actual air conditioner fan and fan shroud. So I guess they were concerned that the condenser, which is a piece of it's the aluminum thing with the fins on it. You've seen these before. Those things are pretty delicate, and if it was bent, it would probably break later on.
Right. Well, we were hearing a noise, so the fact that they told us something was wrong with the air conditioner is not a surprise, because we were hearing some sort of a noise when
something got pushed up, and so it probably bent that, broke the shroud, and basically bent the condenser. It didn't puncture the condenser because the refrigerant didn't leak out.
Right, we still had air conditioning.
Because I assure you, when you're if it would have broke the condenser, I've heard that noise before when it's like in a it's like in a car wreck, and it's like makes a really nice hissing sound for quite a while. It's like a tire going flat on steroids. If it's a slow leak, of course you can't hear it, but normally when you run into something, it's a pretty loud sound. Anyway, the point is, so between the air conditioner and stuff now, the parts is going to need $2,800 in parts and just under $1,300 in labor. So the total for everything now is $4,095.50, which, you know, this is all on me. Actually, I guess in some respects, if you go out and you have a fender bender, it's, you know, there's no such thing as a cheap repair, collision repair. I mean, it isn't cheap
for any car.
For any car.
Yeah.
And so I guess at this point, I think it's fair and reasonable. I don't want Marianne to have trouble with the air conditioner. I need to say that we had noticed the air conditioner prior to anything. I mean, even in the summer, I said, you know what, I don't think the air conditioner is really putting out right. So maybe they'll check the more refrigerant or something. I don't know.
Right, and we did pass that feedback on to Tesla to say, hey, while you're in there replacing what got damaged at the track, note that we thought maybe the air wasn't quite as cold as it should have been before track day.
Right.
And while it's in there, let's make sure whatever needs to be fixed about the air conditioner is good to go.
So obviously, thanks to our viewers, we have the Powerwall credit. It may or may not be enough to cover this new amount, the $4,000 and change.
They were going to check.
They're going to check.
Because we used a little bit of it on the control arm.
Control arms.
Yeah.
And
it should cover the bulk of it, one would think.
The bulk of
yes.
it, so at least it won't be a major shock.
Out of pocket.
Out of pocket.
Yeah, yeah. So at this point, we're waiting to hear when they have to. Originally, they had all of the parts in Raleigh, but now they've added quite a few parts. So we don't know, but some subset of the new parts are not in Raleigh and would have to be ordered.
Right.
And we're just waiting to hear back when that would be. You know, the Raleigh folks are at the mercy of when the parts get sent to them as far as when they can do the repair.
Yeah, so we're
just waiting to hear on that.
You know, hopefully.
But in the meantime, I am driving blue, and I love blue, and I am so grateful to be driving an electric car while Ruby is up there at the service center. I mean, Blue and I are getting along just fine. Sweet ride.
Well, the Tesla guys, you know, I really appreciate them looking after Ruby, you know, and taking care of her and getting her all fixed up. Hopefully everything's going to work out right. She's going to be good as new. Or better, who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So, there you have it. We will give you an update when we have another one, but I suspect a few days will pass while we wait for parts to arrive.
I'm not expecting it to get her back tomorrow, would be
or
fine.
Even this week. I don't know about this week.
Right,
we'll see.
That's Friday tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh God, no, really? Today's Thursday. It is Thursday. Matter of fact, this morning on the video, I said, you know, I think today seems like it really ought to be Friday.
Yeah, no, just Thursday. And then so hopefully though, maybe sometime early next week. I'm not putting, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Yep. All right. Well, there you have it. It's time to take Johnny to Taekwondo. My Audible book has been really awesome, and I'm going to listen to my book and play Pokemon Go for a few minutes. I left my purse in the house. I don't have my purse. Johnny, can you grab my backpack? It's in my chair at the kitchen table. Thank you. Wow, I really like the dome lights in the S. In the X, they're here. And there's 5 of them, but they're not as bright, I don't think, altogether as these two. I'm used to my van hitting a switch right here and it lighting up the whole inside of the van like really bright, and I have missed that in Ruby. Of course, I'm sure we could do something to add a little bit more light if we really wanted to. Johnny's gone into the library. He finished the book he picked up the other day, and he's picking up another new book. Although we forgot to bring the other one to return. So I suspect we'll be back at the library tomorrow to drop off the other book. Houston, we have a problem. Thank you. So Blue and I traveled. Let's see if we get the focus here. 103.5 miles today. Notice the efficiency at 330 watt hours per mile. Not a lot better than Ruby is all I was gonna say. It's right on par with what Ruby would be getting.